This is Dr. Betsy, and we're back with another episode of Body, Mind, Spirit. I'm really excited to have with us Brenda Warren, the solutionist, and so much more. And I can't wait to talk to her about all the wonderful things that she's been up to, her book, the program she's got coming out, and so much more. So welcome with us today, Brenda.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. I've been waiting all day. Well, actually, all week for this. I'm just excited. How are you today?
Good, good. I don't even know where to start with you because you've been just in the last year, you've just been on fire with doing so many different things. Maybe let's start off with just your background. Like, how did you get to where you are today?
It's been a journey of many different roads, but I guess we want to start where we met at the Be Seen Accelerator when I took the Be on TV challenge. It was July 26th, 2020. Yeah, 2020. And I had a bottle of pills in my hand about to take myself out of here. And the gentleman that I got on the phone named David convinced me to take one of the pills in that bottle and find something to do. And what I found to do was the Be on TV boot camp with the Super Connector Media. I became the grand prize winner of that event. I ended up getting my own television show. From there, I began to be known around the world as a solutionist because I was already doing many YouTube videos and walking in my driveway and posting on Instagram and stuff prior to that. But now people were beginning to hear my story of being a retired Marine that was diagnosed with PTSD in 2011, that sat on the couch for 8 years. My marriage was ending. My life was in the toilet. I had hit rock bottom. And then I had that turnaround and I began to change my life. I got off the couch. I lost 100 pounds. I wrote a book. I started doing seminars, webinars. I started coaching other people. I started using all the skills that I already had, but were laid dormant for years because I was allowing limiting beliefs to hold me back. So now it's been a year, more than a year now. I have my own YouTube channel where I interview entrepreneurs, veterans, and authors. I coach people all over the world. I've been speaking all over the world. Women are using my book as a book study all over the world. And I consider that nothing but the grace of God.
And it's funny the way the universe works because, like you said, I mean, I have always knowing you, I've always been like, you're such an amazing person. But there's so many different reasons why people end up that rock bottom where they just can't see, what's in front of them or just see the wonder in life. And we'll take a step back and kind of discuss the subject of suicide for a minute. The idea is that most people don't want to die, they just want the pain to end.
Want the pain to end.
And the brain just doesn't know how any other way to make that happen, and that's where suicide becomes a topic that pops in the head. But how was that for you?
Well, it wasn't the first time. I had battled with depression most of my life, and I had been taking medication, but I had at that time when I hit this rock bottom point, I wasn't taking my medication like I should. I hadn't slept for 5 days. And when you combine lack of medication, when you are dealing with mental health issues and lack of sleep, that is a recipe for disaster. And I'm just fortunate that for that brief moment, I was able to do with what a lot of my friends have not been able to do. I reached out to someone, and that person was able to talk me off the proverbial ledge and help me, see that there is something worth sticking around for. If you had told me my life could be what it is right now, a year ago, I would have told you you're on hallucinogenic drugs, because the thought that people all over the world would seek me out to coach them, to help them get past their stuck points, to help them tap into their genius, to help them live unapologetically unstoppable lives. I could not have imagined that. But now, we've heard in the groups that we both frequent that you often can't connect the dots going forward. But when you look back, I can see how every pain point that I've reached in my life, every perceived hurt or slight or something that I thought was going to take me out allowed me to get to where I am right now.
80% of women will develop a pelvic health condition at some point in their lives. There is relief. There is hope. The Pelvic Floor Store, your resource for personal health.
Yeah, that is amazing. And how long did you wrote your book very quickly too, didn't you?
Yeah,
or at least it seems
days.
like it.
Yeah. I wrote my book in 7 days with the help of a phenomenal woman named Mercy Miles Jenkins. She has the Legacy Driven consultancy. They do a 7-day book writing boot camp.
Wow.
But because I was still in my mental turmoil, I did write my book, but then I dropped out of the boot camp and finished it on my own. And it took me 4 months to edit it because I really wanted to make sure what I was putting out there was going to be really something worth people reading. And once I did that, then I self-published.
So what is the name of your book, and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, the book is called Soul Searching. Get on board for transformation using the tap-in method. It's the method that I actually use to transform my life and that I've been using for over 30 years with people in ministry. I am a minister and I have been helping people in churches for years. So when I was told, well, you should write a book, I thought, what am I write a book about? And they said, write a book about what you know. And I said, well, I know how to tap in. They said, what's tap in? And I told them, I said, tap in is when you transform your mindset. You announce that you're going to make a change and you get accountability. You prepare for that transition. You imagine what your life is going to be, and then you nurture that thought. So that's what the acronym stands for. And that's what I taught people. So the soul searching part is that it is my belief that in order to tap into what you believe is your ultimate purpose here on the planet, I believe it starts with your spiritual practices, your foundation of what is it you believe? What are your core beliefs? So you have to figure that out first. So you have to do a soul search and figure out what you believe. Once you're clear on that, then you say, this is what I believe my purpose is. Then it is, why would you pursue that? Then I get people to figure out their why. And then once they've got that, then we have the 8 areas that I ask people to tap into, which is your spiritual as your foundation, your finances, your relationship, your emotional, your wellness or physical being. If you are an entrepreneur, or if you just want a career, no, I shouldn't say just, if you want a career, or if you're a veteran. So those are the 8 areas that I show people how they can tap into it. And by using my tap-in method, I was able to lose the weight. I was able to change my thought process about the fact that I am currently in a divorce after 23 years of marriage. It was a way for me to tap into my finances and become debt-free. The only thing I have left is my mortgage. And using the tap-in process, I refinanced, I paid off all my debt. And then I started looking at my mortgage and realized I could pay my 30-year mortgage off in 3 years. It's the program is universal. And oftentimes when people come to me, Dr. Betsy, they'll come to me and say, Brenda, I need help with my finances. But because most people think they need help with one thing, but they don't look at their whole life. And I like to take a whole life approach. They often will come back and say, well, I also need help with my relationship, or I also need help with my physical wellness, my health. And I'm all about lifestyle, not diets.
Yes.
In all areas. You know, you can go on a financial diet, but you're going to be right back in debt if you do not change your habits and your thoughts about money. Same thing with relationships. If you're always in bad relationships, you got to ask yourself, what are you telling yourself that would allow you to continue to end up in the same type of abusive relationship over and over again? So we tap into what it is that people really desire, and then we work through that. The whole book is actually an activity. You journal in it, you soul search in it, and then you tap into what it is that really lights you up.
That is absolutely amazing. You know what? I'm going to get your book because I think I need it. Because, we were talking about definitely there's a connection with everything. Like you're
Mhm.
saying, when people like have something challenging one area, they're like, you can look, there's probably other things. And then that also affects health, that affects mental health, that spiritual health. So this sounds like just an amazing thing for pretty much anybody to go through.
And that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. I tell people I can tap into anything. It's just like you take, for example, those of us that know you know that you're all about women's health and wellness, and you try to take the mystery about our vaginas and how we see them and view them. And if I was to ask somebody, they say, well, how do you tap into that? That's easy. You're going to get with Dr. Betsy, and she's going to transform your thoughts about how you see that very precious part of your body, that it doesn't have to be a mystery, that you need to make friends with it. You need to look at it. You need to touch it. You need to know what it tastes like. I know people get crazy when I say that, but you need to know these things, what it smells like, because we're all unique and we have it. You announce to the world that your vajayjay is special and that you're going to take care of it. And then you get some accountability by talking to Dr. Betsy, because she's going to teach you how to do all those things. And then I want you to prepare yourself by making sure you have mentally opened your mind up so that you can get all the lessons she has. It's going to make your vajayjay sing like the Mississippi Mass Choir. And then I want you to imagine how wonderful your life is going to be when you make friends with that part of your body that is often kept hidden, but even you won't have a conversation with it. And if you can imagine how good your sex life is going to be, how good your health is going to be, I want everybody to have sex that makes the angels blush, and Dr. Betsy is going to give you the tools to do that. And then you're going to nurture all of that so that you can have a phenomenal relationship with your whole body, not just your vajayjay, because it's more than that, but that's a center of yourself that we often neglect, and she's going to teach you how to love it and live with it.
That is amazing. And I am definitely using that part of the video for my patients, because especially when it comes to pelvic health, there's so much more that goes into it. Because a lot of times when people have a problem in the pelvic area, male or female, or trans, or whoever you may be, anybody's having a problem there, there's a lot of times other problems coming from elsewhere. It's how you're viewing yourself. It may be stress. It may be, if you're not eating properly, it may be financial stress, emotional stress. So, we can tie this all together, which is pretty amazing.
And that's what I said, you can tap into it, because I recently talked to a friend, and it was because I was coming on your show and I wasn't sure exactly what we were going to talk about. But I asked her, I said, have you ever looked between your legs? And she's like, oh, the horror. I'm like, girl, get a mirror. Buy two, and she said, you look, I said, I look at myself on a regular, because I need to make sure there's nothing down there that shouldn't be there. How do you know you're healthy if you don't know what you look like normally?
Yeah.
So just like I do a breast exam, my mother taught me that. She used to always say, don't be afraid of your body. You need to know. So if one hair is out of place, you best believe I know it, because I know what it looks like down there. But there's lots of women that are afraid to even take a mirror and look at their own selves. And think about this. That's one part of it. But what I tell women all the time is, I want you to get in a full length mirror and tap into your whole body, because our bodies are so amazing. And if we only knew the real power in our bodies, and that we could learn to love ourselves. It's not about losing. Sexy is not a dress size. We have to learn to love the body that we're in, because it is capable of such great pain and pleasure at every size. My sex drive didn't stop at size 26. My mindset changed because I had some issues. And then one day I realized sexy wasn't a dress size. So I could tap into the fact that this body felt just as good having sex at size 26 as it does now at a size 18. Now I might get to move a little bit better now, but the difference is it's still capable of so much if I would just release the limiting beliefs that tell me I'm not worthy, because that's a lie. So I stand in the mirror, and I used to force myself to get in the mirror at size 26 and say, I am fit, fierce, and fabulous. Now at a size 18, I'm not what they say the beauty standard size, but for me, I'm fit, I'm fierce, and I'm fabulous. But I didn't wait to get there to say that to myself, because what I realized is, as I began to say it, I began to live it. I began to eat better. I began to exercise. I hired a personal trainer. I began to carry myself different. I began to dress different. And when you tell yourself that you're worthy and you tap into the beauty that you are at any size, it's an amazing feeling, and it does something for you spiritually, which is why I always say that's the foundation.
This is amazing stuff. And I can't wait to talk to you about it some more when we come back from the commercial break.
Always been my mission to help people with their health. Organs are some of the most nutrient-dense superfoods on the planet, and yet we're not getting them in our diet. My name is James Berry. I have been a chef for over 16 years. I came up with this new product. It's called Pluck. It's an organ-based all-purpose seasoning. In Pluck, you don't need to know how to cook. Just simply either make a food how you would and finish it with Pluck. You can add it to the recipe while you're making it. You can finish it with Pluck. You can simply just season your meal with Pluck. By being a shelf-stable spice, can be added to any food. Popcorn, rice, salad, chicken, fish, eggs, you name it, and you can use it with Pluck. The organ-based all-purpose seasoning that's versatile and goes with any food. Nutrition in a pinch.
So I'm back with Brenda Warren, the solutionist, who's got some amazing life advice, and just transformational, amazing life advice. So Brenda, I don't even, like I said, I don't even know where to start. You just make me speechless. You have so much great stuff. I know we were talking about how people perceive their bodies and the mindset. I wanted to ask you just a little bit more about the financial aspect of things, because you were saying, like, when you make these changes, I mean, you can, I hear from a lot of people that I know that they're working really hard and they don't feel like they're making it, and they feel like they're stuck, and, financial things can really cause a lot of stress for people too. How do you take your tap in steps to apply it to that aspect of life too?
Oh, I love that question, because the first thing I did is, it is about your mind. Everything starts at the T, the transforming your mindset. You see, there is no lack. If we look at what's going on in the world today, we're in the midst of a pandemic, but more and more people are becoming multimillionaires in the midst of a pandemic because they pivoted and they started doing things differently than they did before. I don't care how much debt a person is in, and I tell them that all the time when I work with my clients. The key is, if you're willing to change your mindset about money, remove your limiting beliefs, you can tap into a financial future that allows you financial freedom. And you do that by first finding out what it is that makes you believe that you are not going to be able to get out of debt. So we have to deal with that first, and you need to announce, I'm ready to get out of debt. You have to make the declaration, because words have power. And then you have to get some accountability. That's how you tap into it. And then you have to prepare. Preparing to get out of debt means you have to stop spending money. It's not rocket science. If you are in debt, why are you continually doing and creating behaviors that will keep you in that process? For me, what I did was I cut up every credit card I owned. I did not allow myself, I made a decision that did not allow for any other option. By preparing myself to release things that no longer served me. I sold things in my house. I had garage sales. I put stuff on eBay, because I bet you right now, for most of the people, if you're listening, you look around your house, you have thousands and thousands of dollars, not everybody, but lots of them, of stuff that you're not even using. It's literally gathering dust in your house, and it could be serving somebody else because it's not serving you. How many, you can't wear but one pair of shoes. I had over 600 pair of shoes.
Oh, really?
My shoes alone, selling my shoes alone, paid off one $3,000 credit card. Okay. So I began to go, wait a minute, I'm onto something here. I sold all my purses. I had purses in every color. Now I keep down to 3. I have a black and white purse that's reversible. I also make purses, so I can make a purse whenever I want to. But that was something to say, how many purses do I really need? Now, for you fashionistas, don't go in a conniption. You can have as many purses as you want. It's different for everybody. I had one lady that just was not going to let go of her purses. That was her thing. And that's okay. That's the thing, you get to choose. But I tell the people that are managing with, if it's your money, your relationship, or whatever it is, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely. Then I ask them, imagine what your life would be like if you had financial freedom. Now, when you look around your house, if you see 20 pairs of shoes and 16 purses and every DVD known to man and all this stuff, you got to ask yourself, is that more important than being financially free? For me, it wasn't. So I began to sell all those things that didn't serve me with the understanding that I could keep whatever I want. But if it really didn't serve me, then it had to go, because there was a bigger picture. And then once I got on the other side of debt freedom, I nurtured that. And I did not continue the behavior that put me in debt in the first place, like Amazon, where I've constantly bought from Amazon, online retailers and things of that nature. Now I have an Amazon budget and I don't go over it. I also have a 1 in, 1 out rule. If I buy something, something has to go out. So it's changing your behavior in ways that creates a lifestyle of financial freedom. And that's how you tap in so that you don't put yourself right back where you started. Because I have gotten out of debt before, but I ended right back up in debt because I got out, but I didn't change my behavior. So tapping in asks you to change your behavior. And that's why knowing your core belief. See, I have a core belief that says, I don't deserve to be in debt, you know. And I tell people, I'm a money magnet. I attract money. I don't chase it. So when you change your mindset about it, you'll be surprised how your spirit will open up to receive the very thing that you were resistant to before.
You know, I know that right now you're just like in the beginning of your blooming, and you're blooming big. So I can't wait to see like how much bigger you get with this. This is great. But do you have so far with what you've been doing, do you have anything that really sticks out for you as like a wow moment with what you've been involved with?
I think my wow moment was the first time I realized people were using my tap-in book for a book study, and women were actually changing and saying, oh my God, nobody had ever asked me what I wanted. Nobody had ever asked me to soul search, and that people resonated with the story, because I used my grandmother as a way to tell the story, so that it's something that a trip to my grandmother's house is how I tell the story in the book. And because my grandmother was full of wisdom, Dr. Betsy, I would sit on her lap and she would do what we call life lessons. When we were out in public, we would see people doing things like if someone was mean to someone or just disrespectful, she'd go, baby girl, you see that? Yes, ma'am. Don't do that. And then she'd tell me why not to do that. She'd tell me why it's important to be kind to everyone. Don't be a respecter of person. That she taught me to agree to disagree without being disagreeable. She did this while I was a child. So when I'm growing up, I had that concept. But even with all those concepts, I didn't always apply what grandmother taught me, because we all have free will. And sometimes, you'll forget. But when I remembered the lessons, I was able to tap into that wisdom that my grandmother taught me when I was sitting on her knee as a little girl, about how to make good choices, about how to value yourself, that I was worthy from the beginning of foundation of time because God said I was. Those are the lessons that I had let slip through my fingertips. And now I'm re-embracing that, and I'm helping others do the same, regardless of what their religious way, because tap in is not about my faith. It's about what you believe. It's about your spiritual practice. I have one man that I work with, he's an atheist. That's a religion. Most people don't know that. But regardless of what you believe, all of us have something that we believe. Even people that say they don't believe anything, believe they don't believe anything. So the key is, what do you do with that?
And I find that like when it comes to limiting the beliefs, that it's almost can be this like defense mechanism of not necessarily of you, but almost the brain goes there, because the brain starts getting scared when we're doing things outside of our comfort zone. But from what I'm hearing from you is really once we step out that comfort zone and we tap into our true, powers and our true potential, that the world is limitless.
It really is limitless, Dr. Betsy, because the one thing that I realized over this past year working with Jen and Chris out of Super Connected Media and all the other members of our community there, is that the only limits I have are the limits I place on myself. You know, we hear people like Tony Robbins and Lisa Nichols say success leaves clues. And so many people are so busy trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm like, just buy the wheel. You don't have to do it over. There is nothing that I'm saying to you today that somebody hasn't already said a different way. The key is that there are people out there that are willing to listen to me say it and take action on it. But the truth is, there are going to be a lot more people that are going to hear what I say, and they're going to go, that's nice, little girl, but you know what? And they're not going to do it, and that's okay. That's their choice. Because the reality is we all get to choose where we spend our time, how we spend our time, and if we want to live in lack or we want to live in abundance. See, I get up every morning and before my feet hit the ground, I thank God that I'm alive. I thank God that for 10 things that are positive. And I just thank God for the ability to live unapologetically unstoppable.
You know, and when I think of this from a medical standpoint, because my brain always goes that way, is when you do these affirmations, you actually physically change the way your brain is wired. So that when you're suffering from anxiety, you're suffering from depression, or even just a bad mood, your brain will physically change. So when you do these things, these affirmations, like at first, I think they kind of feel a little like uncomfortable, or when you tap in, it's a little uncomfortable, but you can actually not only change your life, but you can physically change your brain structure that will then continue to push you into this better, abundant life. So,
you know what? Now to say this, for 8 years, I believed and I told myself that I wasn't worthy and that I couldn't get off the couch and that I couldn't lose weight. And then one day, and so my brain said, you're right. And so I sat there eating Doritos and drinking Diet Pepsis. And then one day I said, I don't have to live like this. And I got up and started walking in my driveway one step at a time. And I could hardly walk in that driveway at first. And then I kept telling myself, I'm fit, fierce, and fabulous. I kept telling myself, I'm a money magnet. I kept telling myself, I'm going to help people all over the world. A year later, I'm doing all of that and more. Because whatever you tell yourself is what will happen, because our subconscious will make happen what we believe. So for those of you listening, if you tell yourself you can't, you won't. But if you tell yourself you can, you absolutely can.
You know, there's a quote that I love. And it says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So where can people find out more about you, Brenda?
They can go to my Instagram page, Brenda the Solutionist. It's Soulutionist, Soulutionist. And if you click in the link in my bio on Instagram, you can find my book. You can find the magazines I've been on. You can see all the stuff I do. The veteran resources I provide, it's all there.
That is wonderful. I'm so excited for everything that you're doing. And I just can't wait to keep seeing, what the future has in store. So make sure you guys go and follow Brenda on Instagram and check out all the wonderful things that she's up to, because you definitely want to tap into her now, because it's going to be amazing. And that's just going to help your life. I also want to just remind people, make sure you follow me on I'm on every social media now, pretty much. So follow me on social media, my website, drbetsygreenleaf.com. And also don't forget to check out WYTV7.org. We have a bunch of amazing, check out the other shows, other podcasts, and more importantly, check out what we're doing in the community. And feel free to press that donate button, because even the smallest amount makes a big difference. And so your money is not only helping great programs like this today, but you can see all the wonderful things we're doing in the community. So once again, Brenda, I want to thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
And everybody, don't forget to tune in next week for another episode of Body, Mind, Spirit.